How's it going, everybody? This is Facebook Live. Truly appreciate you taking the time to sit with our very first episode of Real Estate Titans. Our very, very special guest, Randy Reynolds. Randy, thanks so much for being on the show.
Hey, you bet.
Absolute pleasure. So for anybody who's out there watching this right now, this is really, really special. It's been a while in the making, but essentially the whole goal of this show is to really resonate with the consumers, what the top professionals, or what I like to consider the real estate titans, have done in their career, what inspires them, what motivates them, what really has taken them to the highest of highs in the business. So traveling around town, really interviewing these top professionals. I'm super excited. So hopefully there's great advice and content. I am the host, Greg Fowler, and again, we mentioned Randy. So let's just jump right into it for everybody who's out there. So Randy, just got a series of questions to ask you and kind of go through there.
Okay.
So
You bet.
I guess tell everybody a little bit about yourself. Who is Randy?
Well, I've been in the real estate business, seems like forever. In fact, just the other day I got my 40-year Realtor Emeritus pin.
Wow.
So I've been in the business quite a bit, quite a
Okay.
long time, and seen the ups and downs and that kind of thing. So it's been a pretty interesting time.
That's fantastic. I mean, and I'm sure you've seen a lot in the markets change and things throughout your career, Randy. So that's
Yeah.
really amazing. So what's your why? I mean, what got you into the business, but what really drives you, motivates you, or pushes you to that next level?
You know, I didn't grow up thinking, I'm going to be a realtor from the very beginning. Most
Sure.
of us, change our ideas of what we want to be and what we think we might want to be when we're going through college and studying courses and things. And my goal was to be an architect. And when I was going to the University of Arkansas, that was my direction.
Okay.
And then after a couple of years, I decided I wanted to turn more to just general business and marketing.
Okay.
So that's what I did. But the real estate side of it kind of came from my dad, who sold farm and ranch
Oh,
years ago in Colorado, and so I was exposed to that. And when I finished college, I came back to Colorado and thought, well, let me get my real estate license, and here I am.
wow, rest is history. And that's crazy, though, Randy.
Yeah.
I mean, and everybody has a different background or story,
do,
and that's
yeah.
what's so exciting about the world in general, but real estate is there's so many different ways to get to that next level, the highest of highs, but it's just neat for everybody else out there to kind of see what Randy's all about. So, okay, so in that instance, answering the question, what is your why? I mean, every day, what gets you out of bed, Randy, over all your career thus far? I mean, what drives you truly to be what you are?
I think a lot of it is it's your family, wanting to do good for them.
Sure.
Having grandkids now is a big part of my why,
Wow.
of getting
Great.
up and being part of their lives and watching them grow, and hoping to be a little bit of the old sage, to where you can give them advice, and hopefully they'll listen to it.
Sure.
Obviously, the other part of it is being in real estate. We have a job. We're hired by buyers and sellers to, guide them through the real estate process, and that's
Right.
part of the reason too.
Okay.
And the other thing is, I thank the good Lord every day. He gives us an opportunity to maybe get up and make a difference.
That's beautiful.
And that's kind of my direction is, okay, I've got another day. What can I do to make a difference in somebody's life?
Right.
Hopefully it's a positive thing.
Well, and,
So-
and that's a really great reasoning. I mean, talking about family and really helping the consumer and your buyers and sellers. But I mean, I know that just for me knowing you, Randy,
Uh-huh.
that you really do care about the end result and building real relationships in the marketplace. And they're not just clients; they're not just numbers. I mean,
True.
at the end of the day, they become a part of your family.
Very true.
Which
Very
is
true.
really cool. So, but that's a great why. A lot of good reasons in there. So, here, let's get some trickier questions for the audience out there. When it comes to that. So, if there was a specific thing that you could pinpoint in your career that really elevated you to another level when it comes to your overall production or business prowess, could you pinpoint that one or two things that really did it for you, Randy?
I'd probably have to say probably the people I worked with
Okay.
and who I was exposed to early on. One was in North Carolina with a broker there.
Oh.
I was brand new in the real estate business and a brand new licensee in North Carolina. My broker, he was kind of old school,
Okay.
and
Okay.
he took me out, and it was probably 25, 30 degrees, And he goes, "You need to knock doors. You need to get business."
That's great.
And I said, "Well, okay, whatever it takes." But he says, "Here, take my coat." He had an overcoat. So I wore his coat, and I'm knocking on doors. And, you know, you get rejected, but you also get some good positive feedback and that kind of things. You get chased by dogs, and you kind of go, "Oh, man, I'm going to switch neighborhoods." Or
You're like,
something.
what is this? What did I
Yeah.
get myself into here?
I guess the other one then is when I moved to Colorado Springs. I met
Okay.
two people that were extremely influential in my life.
Okay.
And that was Bud and Kadeen Patterson.
Wow.
And worked with them for years, and we kind of followed each other through two different companies. And real quality people, and really helped me in my career. So
Okay.
I would say it's the brokers and the people you kind of meet along the way that really seem to kind of mold you and help you in your career.
I want to echo on that, Randy, because I agree, you know, mentors or influencers in our life make a huge difference. I mean, we truly are guilty by association. Top 5 personal or professional individuals that we surround ourselves with, that's who we become. So I think that you having those influences really, really took it up a notch. So that's great. It's not all us. It is the people around us.
True.
So I love that. That's a great example. So here's another question,
Okay.
kind of lining up that way. When it comes to life, because we all deal with challenges, we've all dealt with heartache. If not now, then we will into the future. What was something that you've gone through in your life thus far, Randy, that was something that challenged you, that was difficult, that you overcame, that made you stronger?
Mm-hmm. I think, you know, most people kind of think back of probably personal relationships they had, probably with family and friends.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, as we get older, you know, we lose some of those people.
Sure.
And I look back at a lot of those friendships and family that I've lost, friends that I've lost, and you really start to kind of take a different perspective or thought of your life, and you cherish more of those thoughts, desires, and things like that you go through.
Sure.
And make sure that you make every day count. And that's what I think really has kind of helped mold me. And
Okay.
I've got a sister that's disabled,
Okay.
and I see her, she's here in Colorado Springs, and I see her 3 to 4 days a week.
Okay.
And she's always got a smile on her face when I walk in to see her, and
Wow.
real positive. And you know, we all get kind of down in this business and depressed or whatever and things like that. But boy, when I go in to see her, I think, man, what a lucky person I am.
Sure.
And how much of a positive attitude she has. And you know, those kind of things I think are the real thing that kind of pushes you forward and kind of makes you clear your mind and go, oh, let's get out there and get after it. And I'm pretty fortunate.
Right, and dealing that with a sibling, I mean, that's not easy, Randy. And everybody has, you know, times where they deal with health issues, or if they're working with family members or friends, and just always answering that question to yourself, or at least repeating it to yourself, that we are very blessed, or we should be grateful for every day, because somebody has it worse. Look, we all have bad days, we all deal with things. So just, I guess, appreciate the time frame and the journey. And the good and the bad. I mean, we learn from that. I think everybody does, whether it's good or bad. The conversations that we have, the travel that we do, the movies that we watch, the books that we read.
Mm-hmm.
I think that really molds and shapes us. And so I guess a good message out of there is just be grateful for everything. So I think that's fantastic. So here's another question into that, Randy. If you could go back in time and talk to the younger version of Randy and give him one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
It's kind of a tough one. I think I'd focus more on the personal relationships.
Okay.
All along the way, and those that I've had in the beginning, and maybe really cherish those. There were so many people that touched my life, you know, over all these years.
Sure.
And just make those personal relationships very personal and probably more in depth, and maybe spend a little more time with some of those people.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of very successful and knowledgeable people that you brush against on your journey.
Right.
And it's and I found so many of them are so grateful and interested in helping you,
Right.
and giving you advice, and you ought to be a sponge.
That's beautiful. I think so many people, they look at it, and I don't want to say that, and put a stigma on the younger generations, but when we're all younger in that standpoint, I think there's some of us out there that feel that we know everything.
True.
And that, oh, we
all go
what are
through
they
those
gonna teach
phases
me?
and stages, and I think we need to look around and really be aware and attentive of the people that are around us that can really help us.
Right. All day. So that's great advice. I'm sure young Randy would have loved to hear that for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go into when it comes down to what books are you reading, Randy? What podcasts are you listening to, or influencers that you follow on social media that really motivate you, that you're interested in as far as topics? So books, podcasts,
Okay. Two exciting ones, really.
Okay.
I just finished The Immigrant Edge by Brian Buffini.
Okay.
And
a lot of people out there know Brian.
yeah,
So,
Brian's a great trainer. He's walked in our shoes. He kind of knows how the business works. He coming over, from Ireland and no money in his pocket, the typical immigrant that
Right.
really strives to make it well in the United States, and good examples.
Sure.
The book is great. His podcast, he'll come out with a different podcast. I think it's about every 2 weeks, where
Okay.
he'll interview successful people. And these people have been like the lady that flew the first Tomcat F-14.
Wow.
And I mean, the first woman pilot, and what she went through. Then he'll talk about other people that have gone through trials and tribulations, and in the sporting events and different things like that, what they had to overcome, and maybe the disabilities that they had to go through, and
Sure.
what made them successful. And he shares those about every 2 weeks, and they're inspiring, and they make you think, and I really enjoy those.
Okay. Great.
The other thing is a book that was recommended to me just the other day, and I just started it.
Oh.
And I'm a kind of a history buff, and I've read a lot about our past presidents, and
Okay.
Getting
to know
their
Randy a little
thoughts
bit
were
more,
and
getting to
things
know
like
him.
that. But it's the title of the book is "If You Can Keep It,"
Okay.
and I think the author is Eric Metaxas, Metaxas. I may
Okay.
be kind of butchering his name, but it has to do with our forefathers and how they got together to write the Constitution, the American Constitution, what we deal with today,
Sure.
and how important that was, and how wise these people were to come up with putting together a document for about 2.5 million people that we had back then, from Maine to Georgia, to get them involved in what we have now as the United States.
Wow.
And such an important document that focused on basically two things.
Okay.
And that was freedom, and more importantly, religious freedom. That we came over from the tyranny and things that we had
Sure.
in Europe. And the other one was self-government. And it's never been done before. And here we have, this combination of mainly gentlemen in Philadelphia to come up with a constitution that would work, where we could self-govern our people and still have the freedom. And part of that, we're seeing it maybe possibly being a little of that being eroded today.
Sure.
But I think that's the basis of the United States and how we got to where we are. And I find all that stuff pretty fascinating.
Sure.
And the title of the book being "If We Can Keep It" means if we can continue to be a republic and not kind of flow back into being a monarchy or socialism and that kind of thing. So
Right.
I think there's some important things to learn from that. So
For sure. No, that's
I'm
awesome.
anxious to finish reading it, and I'll give you a copy so you can check it out.
I love it. I love it for sure. No,
Okay.
that sounds great. And it's anything that we look at, again, talking about the books we read, podcasts we listen to, it helps us formulate our mindset and thought process.
Yep.
So I think it's good for everybody out there. It's the old adage, learners are earners. I mean, that's the truth. I mean, the more we read, the better off we are. And constantly educating. It doesn't matter what your education basis is, if it's higher education or not a lot. I mean, everyone should continue to learn and grow, no matter what degrees you have going
That's true.
through. So that's really cool, Randy.
Yeah.
Okay, so last but not least, and then I promise we're almost done here.
Okay.
So when it comes down to it, what is your mantra? that you live by? What or a quote that really says, "This is Randy. This is what I live by. This represents me and my brand." What would that be?
Yeah, I tried to give it a little thought. It's hard to boil down something to say, okay, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But I would guess Zig Ziglar used to say a lot, if you help enough people get what they want, what you get comes pretty natural.
Love it.
And it's also kind of like the more people you bless, you naturally will be blessed because of that. And I think that's the focus, is you focus more on helping others.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it's in real estate, finding homes or selling their property, or just friendships and helping the grandkids and others like that, there's blessings that you give out, and you in turn will reap those blessings yourself.
That's great.
So
That's really good, and I think that really sums Randy up pretty well. Well, gosh, Randy, I mean, thanks so much for taking the time to do this. I know you're super busy.
Glad to do it, Greg.
I'm really excited to see what the response is to everybody. So please feel free to share this, like it, and comment below. Feel free to share some questions that you might want me to ask other professionals. As we continue to do Real Estate Titans out there. But Randy, I would definitely say you're officially a real estate titan in my book, at least. So
thanks, buddy.
But thanks so much, everybody, and we'll catch you on, I guess, Tuesday's episode. Remember, we're doing this Tuesday afternoons and Friday afternoons, so I'd like to catch you there. Thanks so much for your time and attention. Appreciate it.